Hey guys, it's Wendy with Fab Craft Some More, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to use text in Design Space. I'm going to go over some fun ways you can add curved text and multi-layered text to your projects. Let's go to Design Space. I've already opened up my canvas and we're going to add some text by going over here to the T and clicking on that. It will bring up the text box here, and I'm going to add the word sample. One of the questions that I was asked was how to curve a font. So when you type in your font and your text into Design Space, it's going to type it just straight across, left to right, just like normal. And sometimes we want to add a little style to that and create a curved text. So maybe you have a photo or a shape that you want to curve that text around, and this is how you would do it in Design Space. Since we want it to be round, we're going to go over to Shapes and choose the circle. That's going to bring up a circle, and I'm going to just kind of make this a little bit bigger so everybody can see well what we're doing. And so we're going to click off of the circle. We're going to click onto our word. And what we want to do now is go over here and click ungroup. And what that will do is that will make every letter its own element. Okay, so I'm going to click undo. Watch the canvas, and when I click undo, then it brings all the letters back into just the text. No layers. When we click on it, it moves around all together. And when we go over here with the sample, with the text selected, and push ungroup, it then splits it up into all of the separate letters. So then when you come over here and you click on the E, it's its own element, and you can move that around and put it wherever you want to. So I'm going to click undo so it will bring it back. So now what we want to do in order to create the curved shape is we're just going to select each letter individually and place it around the circle. You can select all of them together and size them. You want to make sure that you do this when they're all together so that they're still proportionately the same. So I want to center these so that I'm going to get a nice centered curve onto the text. So I'm actually going to regroup these, and then I'm going to select the text and the circle. I'm going to go up here to align and center horizontally. So now the text is centered with the circle. And then I'm going to go back up, select the text, and ungroup. So now each letter is an individual element. I can click on each one and move each one separately. So I know that the M is kind of our center mark, and it's already, the word has been centered to the circle. So I want to move the M closer to the circle to start creating the curve of the text. I'm going to click on the M and hold the Shift key down. And the Shift key, while I'm holding it down, allows me to move an element up and down without it moving over. It's going to lock that in place while I move it up and down, so I don't lose the centering there. Okay, so I'm going to bring the M down toward the circle, and I'm going to let go of the mouse and let go of the Shift key. And the word M is not directly in the center of the circle. It centered the word by the proportions of the letters, and the center of the M isn't actually the center of the word. So you can see here that there's a little more space right here on the left side of the M than there is on the right. And so I want to curve that just a little bit. So I'm just going to go up here to the little rotate icon, and I'm just going to move that a tiny little bit and place that where I want it. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the A. I'm going to hold the Shift key down, and I'm just going to drag straight down until it gets down there close to the circle. And I just have to eyeball it a little bit to make it be about the same distance away from the circle as the M is. And then I'm going to use the rotate icon and move that around. And you'll see we need to come down a little bit more. We'll just kind of play with it like so. Okay, so I actually want that to come down just a tiny bit more and rotate that just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm liking that. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go over and do the P, and I'm gonna hold the Shift key down just to kind of bring that down closer and not move it out of place too much. And then I'm just gonna go up to the rotate icon and rotate that. Now, as you hold, you can also hold the Shift key down while you rotate, and it will snap it to I think maybe every 45 degrees, or it'll snap it every 22.5 degrees. But that's even just a little bit too much. So I'm going to just go ahead and rotate that back a little bit. And you can click on the letter, and where it says rotate, you can see it'll give you the degree of rotation. So if you wanted to make sure that the A and the P were rotated the same, and if you're good with numbers, you can, the P says it's rotated 10.64, and then you could minus that from 360 and get the same angle of rotation over here on the other side. That's a little, I'm not going to do that right now. If I was doing this for something really specific, then I might mess with that, but I'm not. So let's bring the L down, and we're just going to rotate that a little bit like so. We'll grab the E, and we'll bring that little guy down and rotate that. And then that one looks like it needs to come over just a little bit. So you can also adjust your spacing this way. You could adjust the spacing of your letters this way even if you weren't going to curve it around the circle. You could leave it in the straight line and adjust the letters closer or further away if you needed to. And I'm going to bring the S down. Again, rotate that like so. And there you have it. So you can come in here and move them around a little bit. You know, if you had a really long word, or you were trying to do this with a lot of words and letters, you know, it does take some time, but it's pretty easy. You just need to have a guide like the circle. Now, if you wanted this not to be quite so curved, you can change the shape of your perfect circle to an oval or an ellipse. So you would come down here to the little lock button, push it so that it unlocks it, and then you can create different angles for that curvature. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just do it really quick, like so. You can bring that over sort of around where it was centered, and then we could click on the letters, move them around a little bit, and you can get as detailed with this as you want. And if you already have an image that you're trying to put this around, you can use the image as your guide. You don't have to bring in a circle. I just did that because we didn't have an image. But if you have an image that you're wanting to place your text around, you can place it around any shape image that you want. So we'll just move this around like so. Bring this up, rotate it a little more, and there you go. So there's your curved text. Once you've placed your letters here, you can get rid of your shape if you don't need your shape anymore, but this may be an image that you have placed in there and wrapped your text around, so you might want to keep it there. But once you have the word curved, you can then select all the letters together by dragging the box, or you can come up here to select all, and then you can group them back together. So now that they're grouped back together, they will move as one. You can't click on each individual letter, okay? And you can move them around to where you want them to be. If you needed to ungroup them again because you wanted to change the position of one of the letters, you could do that. Then select them all again and group them back together. So that is how you curve or shape text around any shape that you want to. I want to go over how to do this with some script fonts too. So I'm going to go ahead and create another circle right here, and I'm going to add, let's say welcome. So let's talk about this. I have this font called Bromella that I downloaded for free off a website, and when it loads up into Design Space, the letters are too far apart. So how do you deal with that? I'm going to go ahead and click on this and bring it up here so we can see it and make it a little bit bigger, like so. So how you bring the letters closer together is you come up here to where it says letter space, and you can enter a value like 0, which is going to be smaller than the 1.2 that it was just at, and that'll bring it a little bit closer together. And then you can also click on the down arrows to bring them closer and actually touch each other where it looks like it's one continuous script. So I'm going to keep this at -0.6, and now I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this like we did before, and I'm just going to bring each letter down and move it around the circle like so. Now, not all script fonts are going to line up exactly doing this, but you can get them pretty darn good. Let's go ahead and bring that O down here and C. And again, if your letters are too far apart, you can even, instead of using the letter spacing, you can even just ungroup them like this and move them around. Whoops, I accidentally deleted the L. There we go. Bring the E down here. And I didn't center this word on the circle before I brought it down, so it's going to be a little off center, so you might want to do that first, like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the circle. I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to rotate that. So you could do something like that, and maybe bring this up a little bit, but see if I bring it up, it doesn't have to, the W doesn't have to be attached to the E. The first letter isn't always attached. So I'm cool with that. This W is kind of funky. And so then we could select it all, swing it around a little bit, and you can, you know, bring the circle back in or move these letters around however you want. I'm going to regroup them, and now, and this isn't perfect, like this is kind of weird, but it's the same concept. With script letters, you just have to make sure that they're touching and look good, because then if you want to then make this and have it cut out all one word, well, the W is going to be separate, but let's go ahead and move that down. Oh, we need to ungroup again. Click the W. I'm going to make the W touch the E just for this particular part of it, because now when we group it back together, if we go to click Make It, they are still all separate letters, and Cricut's going to arrange them to be cut out as separate letters. If we just attach them, now they're going to stay in the formation, in that curved formation, but when we go to click Make It, and I zoom in here so you can see, Anywhere there is a line, right here and right here, they are still separate letters, and they are going to cut out separate letters. So what we want to do when you have fonts that you want to touch and cut out as one piece, okay, this doesn't really make any sense to do it when you're just using non-script letters, but when you have letters that need to touch and you want them to cut out as one, that is when you use weld. So when you weld it, now this is all one, okay, similar to attach, but when we go to make it and we zoom in now, you will see that there are no lines in between the letters. Those lines went away, and now this is going to cut out as all one piece. Okay? So there's that. All right, so now I'm going to just show you something that I think is kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and type in sample again. I suppose I could pick a more interesting word and spell it correctly. All right, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to filter for multi-layered text. So first let's choose the all mixed up. It's these circles, and they're kind of fun. And you can come over here to the layers and see all of what is making up this multi-layered text. So right now the only thing that is showing are the circles and the letters that are cut out of the circles. If we come over here and click on the eye for the gray, it adds like a little tag background. So when you cut these out, this will actually cut out the little circles, and you could use this on a banner or, you know, as gift tags or whatever. So let's come up and click on the black, and that adds another little outline. So we could take away this part that has the little eyelet, take that away, and then here you have the circle with the letters and the black outline around it. So these are all cut files. So when we go to make it, let's go ahead and do this. It's going to show you what it will cut out. It's going to cut out the little circles that were sort of the outline, and it's also going to cut out the circle part that has the letters. So the letters will be cut out of that. I'm going to cancel. Now this is a font that charges you $4.99 even if you have access. If you have access, it will be half that price, I believe, if you have access premium. So we're going to cancel that, and we're going to double click on here, which brings up the text box. So whenever you want to change your text, you double click and it'll bring up the text box. And I still want that filter. I want to check and make sure that filter of multi-layer fonts is chosen. So here's the apples are similar to what we just did with the circles. I want to show you some that aren't as obvious as multi-layered text. So I'm going to choose this Art Nouveau font. So when it first brings up the Art Nouveau font, it's showing you one layer. If you come over here and look at the layers, you'll see that what we see is just that first lighter green layer. And then if we click onto the eye, then it brings up the background. So this is what they mean by multi-layered fonts. Now when we go over to make it, it's going to show you, it's going to cut out the lighter green on one mat and the darker green on the other mat so that you can layer these. And you could do this with vinyl, you could do this with iron-on or HTV, heat transfer vinyl. You could do this for paper, for cards. So you can use these for lots of different things. So let's go find one more. Let's find an interesting one. Well, actually, this one's good. This is a good one to use as a sample. So again, this one now brings up both layers visible. The other two had those layers that weren't visible when you first brought them up. So it's easy to click through fonts as you're looking through fonts, and if you don't know that this option exists in the multi-layered fonts, you might just pass over them. So I also have a video on how to create a shadow effect that's similar to this using single layered fonts. So make sure you go and watch that if you're interested in making a shadow sort of like this on a different font. Not all fonts in Design Space are multi-layered, but you can still create shadows using some different functions. So again, when we go to make it, it's going to cut out the black, which was the background sort of shadow outline, and the red. So again, you could use this for layering letters on t-shirts with iron-on or heat transfer vinyl, or you could use this with paper for cards. So that's kind of a little trick that's sort of hidden if you don't know what to look for. So those are just a couple things that are, a little bit tricky if you don't know how to do them, but they're pretty easy. And I hope that this helps you be a little bit more creative with some of your projects. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, check out the other videos, and have a great day.